taking a major league sport, bringing it into the United States and now Portland, and we want a price so everybody can attend. Our highest price ticket, Doug, will be not to exceed $5.
Timbers tickets, $5. Get your Timbers tickets. I don't know what accent that is. But first, though, for $5, get your time machine, because that was the plan back in the 70s when executives first brought professional soccer to the Rose City. Cut to today. This is what you have to do to snag a wristband to see the Portland Timbers play for yet another MLS Cup. Assigned seats that are left start around $350. You can also, by the way, get tatted up to get some tickets. The Timbers held a special giveaway. They gave tickets to tomorrow's championship match against New York City FC to 3 lucky fans willing to get tattoos dedicated to the team. And even cooler, the tickets were a surprise. Fans didn't know they were getting them until after they got inked.
We also got you some tickets for the match.
You're kidding me. Really?
Yep.
Are you sure? What? Oh, amazing. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
I love it. I love it. That is love, man. That is pure love. Welcome to The Story on this Friday, everybody. I'm Maggie Vespa. The Rose City is buzzing with Timbers pride, and it feels good, doesn't it, to have something good to get excited about together? We're going to keep that good feeling going later on in the show with a dive into the KGW Vault. We love those segments. Meantime, though, send us your thoughts, your questions, your comments, your weird holiday decor. We have more of that, too. Email The Story at kgw.com or use the hashtag TheStoryKGW on social media. Our team is watching for your feedback as we speak. So let's get started. First up, our big story. We keep hearing about the importance of booster shots to protect against all of the COVID variants, especially the new one, Omicron. And it makes sense that the most vulnerable Oregonians, like those in long-term care, should be able to get those boosters. Well, we got this email from a woman who wanted to remain anonymous. She wrote, "You would think that residents of skilled nursing facilities would surely have received their booster shots by now, right? Nope. My mom lives in a skilled nursing facility in the Dalles. She and other residents and staff there received their second Pfizer booster shot in mid-January. I think she means second Pfizer shot. I have been asking each week when they will be administering booster shots, since it has been over 9 months since the residents and staff got their second shot of the Pfizer vaccine. They have given me vague answers like, we're still figuring it out." So, after reading that email, we wanted to find out how hard the state of Oregon is pushing to make sure seniors in long-term care are getting boosters. And it turns out they're not pushing very hard at all. Here's Pat Doris.
What is your date of birth?
Seniors living in nursing homes and long-term care facilities in Oregon are among the most vulnerable, especially when it comes to the COVID virus. That's why early on, the state made a concerted effort to help with vaccinations there.
With your vaccine card, you're going to head right over this way, and they'll get you your vaccine, okay?
Oh my God, that's
quick and easy.
But now that it's time for the booster, the state is hands-off, telling leaders at the facilities they should get their residents vaccinated, but not taking any actions to follow up or require vaccination clinics. This page from the Oregon Health Authority shows that of about 16,000 seniors eligible for the booster, half have gotten it. And while we're here, take a look at the workforce. Only about a third of them have booster shots. The OHA last updated this page 3 weeks ago, so it's possible the numbers are better now. Nationally, 50 million people have received booster doses, according to the White House. Dr. Rochelle Walensky, head of the CDC, talked about a recent study today in the New England Journal of Medicine, comparing those fully vaccinated against those who also had a booster.
In one study, for those who were boosted and over the age of 50, there was a 90% decrease in mortality from COVID-19 compared to those who did not receive a booster.
Dr. Anthony Fauci also led a rather detailed discussion showing Pfizer does not protect very well against the Omicron variant after just 2 shots, but with a booster, it protects very well.
21 days after the second dose, notice the purple bar, Omicron, is very low compared to the neutralization against wild type and beta. But look at what happens in a striking way 1 month after the third dose. Note that the purple bar, which represents Omicron, and the number above it, 154, is essentially equivalent to what a typical 2-dose vaccination does against wild type, shown on the left.
The bottom line, the boosters are working well against all forms of the COVID virus, and whether you're a senior or not, if you got your last shot in June, it's time to get the booster.
All right, 33, you're up.
Pat Doris, KGW News.
Okay, so let's keep the booster conversation going. Ashley Corsland's going to help me out with this. And the big headline here is that as of basically last night, 16 and 17-year-olds can get the Pfizer booster. And I point that out because yesterday afternoon, building up to that, you were on the phone with the Oregon Health Authority. I was eavesdropping, frankly, and you were trying to get clarity because there were a lot of steps that had to fall into place.
Yeah, so yesterday the first big announcement came from the FDA and then the CDC approving booster shots for 16 and 17-year-olds who are at least 6 months out from their original Pfizer vaccine.
Right, they have to be eligible.
Yes, so 6 months out. So those teens could then get the booster. But what had to happen first in Oregon is that the governor and the Oregon Health Authority had to sign off. Well, that happened yesterday evening. So now officially, as of today, 16 and 17-year-olds in Oregon can go ahead and go get a booster at their pharmacy or wherever they choose to get it. The question, Maggie, will be if supply is there.
Yeah.
So maybe make an appointment ahead of time to see if you can get in for a shot.
Just like you've been seeing everybody else, either waiting in line or trying to find that shot. So just be aware of that. So then for parents with younger kids who are wondering about possible boosters down the road for them, what do we know at this point?
So that is a little hard to answer. That's unclear at this point. So for anyone under 16, a lot of parents are wondering, when can my kids get a booster? You know, first thing they'll have to study, researchers will be studying, and this is according to national health experts, is the vaccine that they currently have, is the effectiveness waning? And then they'll be looking at whether a booster is safe and will it be effective. So that all that research is happening right now. Scientists are studying it, so it might be some time before we really get a concrete answer to that question.
Gotcha. A lot to watch, and again, a lot of steps for that to go through. So we have this new development. Ashley, thank you for the clarity.
Yeah, you bet.
Let's switch gears now and talk about the housing crisis. We told you yesterday that Portland's Housing Commissioner Dan Ryan is opening up on this week's edition of Straight Talk with Laurel Porter, and they talked about a number of issues tied to homelessness. Among them, they drilled down on questions we here on The Story had about those 6 safe rest villages that were supposed to open this year but have now been delayed until sometime in 2022. Now, several times we have heard that a key reason for these delays on this project was neighborhood pushback. The city has chosen 3 sites so far. One along Southwest NATO. The second is the former Jerome F. Sears Army Reserve Center along Southwest Multnomah Boulevard. And the third is the Menlo Park and Ride at Southeast 122nd and Burnside. They have 3 more to go after that. All of those sites, though, all the ones we have so far, sit near schools, businesses, homes. And with each selection, we've heard from neighbors like Jim Widener.
They're just dropping it in our laps and saying, deal with it. And it's putting a hardship on everybody.
Okay, but we've got to be honest here. I mean, who didn't see pushback from neighbors coming? Who didn't see that coming? 6+ years into a housing crisis, we know that happens with every shelter selection, every village site. Neighbors nearby are usually anxious or angry. So was that really, we wondered, not taken into account when the city promised to open these villages by the end of the year? Well, last week, after announcing this latest delay, the city revealed another reason that we hadn't heard before. The commissioner's office wrote in a statement, quote, "Our work has been complicated by restrictions to the use of American Rescue Plan Act funds." For reference, those are federal funds the city is using to pay for these villages. They have said they want to put $20 million toward these villages total. So, wait a minute, we thought, I mean, that's a new one. That's a new reason. So how big are these restrictions? That was the one line referencing that in that press release. How big are the restrictions? And is that funding source in jeopardy? And in short, is that, we wondered, the reason for the delay? So Laurel Porter, again, had the commissioner on Straight Talk this week, and she asked him that question.
What are those problems? What are the restrictions? And are you going to be able to use that $20 million?
The answer is yes. The difference between the rescue dollars that were from the previous administration and ARPA dollars are, the good news is that you can expend the resources for multiple years. So you can treat the crisis with a little bit more strategic long-term visioning and planning. The more challenge is that there's just a little bit more accountability to the process. And so there's just more checks and balances and more details to check off. So it slows down the process a little bit.
All right, so to put a slightly finer point on this, the commissioner's team also sent us a response via email writing, "These are federal grant funds from the U.S. Treasury, which come with very comprehensive rules, regulations, and reporting requirements that take time to learn and understand, more so than other federal grants have been during the pandemic." They added, "We've just recently finalized the data and reporting standards," and then they capped it off by saying, "Yes, we will be using American Rescue Plan Act funds for the Safe Rest Villages and are grateful for the federal assistance." So in other words, yes, it seems like it's a mess of factors slowing things down, but yes, the city says these villages will open hopefully next year. If and when they do, they are expected to get 300 plus people off of Portland streets.
Roe versus Wade may be in jeopardy depending on how the Supreme Court rules. And you might be thinking that won't impact abortion access in Oregon, right? Well, it depends on where you live.
Many people who live in our eastern counties, those folks are going to have to travel potentially hundreds of miles more.
When the story continues.
Welcome back. Keep sending those questions and comments to thestory@kgw.com or use that hashtag #TheStoryKGW on Twitter. And let's get to a story now that we think is worth your time. The New York Times just published this piece with the headline, "What an America Without Roe Would Look Like." I'm sure you're aware that the U.S. Supreme Court could actually, or in effect, overturn Roe versus Wade. That is the landmark 1973 ruling that guarantees women the right to an abortion. And right now, the court is hearing a case about abortion access in Mississippi. Since the court has a conservative majority, many people think they could use this case to overturn Roe, and that would mean states could decide whether or not to ban abortion. Now, many states have so-called trigger laws in place that would automatically ban abortion if Roe is overturned. You can see those states outlined in black on this map. And this map also shows the estimated decline in legal abortions if those states ban them. It's based on proximity of abortion clinics that would exist in states that keep abortion legal. This was put together by researchers at Middlebury College, UC San Francisco, and the Guttmacher Institute. Now, here's where Oregon comes into play. Here's why we're talking about this. Oregon does not have a trigger law, and it's very, very unlikely that Oregon would outlaw abortion if Roe is overturned because, as you know, Democrats control the legislature and the executive branch. But Idaho, right next door, does have a trigger law. They do have one. And you can see on this map that would impact people in Eastern Oregon. Most abortion clinics in Oregon are along the I-5 corridor. You can see the dots on that map. And the only one in Eastern Oregon is in Bend. So according to this map, legal abortions in far Eastern Oregon, specifically Malheur County, would probably drop by about 25 to 30% if Roe is overturned. We talked to the executive director of Pro-Choice Oregon about why that is.
No state will be immune to the impact of what a reversal of Roe versus Wade would mean on the local level. Access already in the state of Oregon looks a lot different from living in Portland or living on the coast or living on the eastern half of our state. And people who currently live in Eastern Oregon, what I would say currently is many people actually travel to Boise or other places in Idaho to receive abortion care because it's an easier drive. If you've grown up in Oregon, you know that those mountain roads can be, it's not an easy drive sometimes to get to Bend, especially in the middle of winter. And so many people who live in our eastern counties, Malheur, places like Ontario, it's actually much easier for them to go to southeastern Washington or in Idaho itself. The difference that we'll see after Roe or when Roe or if Roe is overturned is those folks are going to have to travel potentially hundreds of miles more.
And that's not the only impact. If Roe is overturned, that means people from states where abortion is banned might come to Oregon to get one. In fact, a recent report from the Guttmacher Institute predicts that if Roe is overturned, Oregon would see a 234% increase in people traveling here for abortion care. 234%. That includes an estimated 230,000 patients from Idaho and 670 patients from Nevada.
We're thinking about what are the investments and what is our role in a state like Oregon, where we may be a place that people are turning to receive care. Currently, people in Eastern Oregon may need to think about travel to Portland or Bend. And then people who live in Idaho may find the closest clinic to them is, in the state of Oregon. So that's sort of what the difference is that we're looking at. And right now we're thinking about capacity issues for our state. Is Oregon ready? We're able to currently just care for the number of people in our state. This is a whole new situation, and it's going to require folks who, make decisions about what we need to be investing in to prepare for this.
So if you have questions about Roe versus Wade or abortion access, please let us know. Okay, this is obviously a really complex topic. So email thestory@kgw.com or use that hashtag, thestoryKGW, on Twitter. All right, bit of a pivot now, moving forward, obviously. Timbers fans, we know you are counting down the minutes until tomorrow's championship match. So in the meantime, let's take a look at the team's history in the KGW vault when the story continues. Let's get meta on a Friday. Does that freak you out? It freaks me out. Our weird holiday decor, or your weird holiday decor rather, continues to just blow us away, especially when we can see our show in the background. It's so cool. A viewer sent this in simply writing, "All we want for Christmas is a warm beach." Same. Art sent in this one from Lake Oswego. Oh my, that is supposed to be, he says, Mary holding baby Jesus, both of whom have alarmingly wide eyes. Art says our son Graham made it in kindergarten 29 years ago. It never fails to make us smile. We love the weird decor. We love it. Keep sending it in to thestory@kgw.com. All right. It's good that we had Christmas music just now, right? Because Timbers fans, Christmas is coming early for you. It's just hours away. The team is facing New York City FC in the MLS Cup Championship. Kickoff is at noon tomorrow, Providence Park. So we thought it would be a good time to dig into the KGW vault. Here's a story that Pat Doris did back in 2011 during that first home game, looking at the team's history.
When fans gathered early at Geldwin Field today for the Timbers' first game, they joined the stream of history. For nearly a century, fans have gathered at this very spot to enjoy sports. Thanks to the Oregon Historical Society, we can travel back 99 years to 1912 and a gathering next to the Multnomah Athletic Club. The stadium did not exist, but the attraction of the place certainly did. 14 years later, in 1926, a stadium, Multnomah Stadium, began to rise on the very same gathering place. By 1959, the place buzzed with activity. Through the decades, it would be called Civic Stadium, PGE Park, and finally, Geldwin. But along the way, a team gathered inside for a game of soccer. The year was 1975, and the professional sport was new to America. We found one of the early promoters in our film vault.
Now we're taking a major league sport, bringing it into the United States and now Portland, and we want a price so everybody can attend. Our highest price ticket, Doug, will be not to exceed $5.
And come they did. The 1975 Timbers lost their first home game that summer, then went on a winning tear that galvanized the city. By the time they reached the playoffs, 33,000 soccer-crazed fans jammed into the stadium. The Timbers won the Western Conference their very first year. Eventually, the wins dwindled and the fans wandered. But now the great team is remembered at the Oregon Historical Society.
Just an amazing collection of stuff.
Michael Orr gathered the items for the historical display. He found many of the original timbers still here, the connection too strong to leave.
It's rare in this country to have players, many of whom were English or from other countries. They came here in the 70s and they either stayed or they came back because there was just something about Portland that was different than the rest of the U.S. and they felt comfortable here and they made friends here. And
the Society's display includes the very first contract ever signed by a timber player. Mick Hoban earned $900 a month back then. A season ticket was $44, and a man wearing a tree costume and called Mr. Kick-It was the mascot. It all happened 36 years ago, but many of those players are still giving back today.
You know, they got involved in any way they could, and for many of them that was staying in the business of soccer in some way or another, and they've certainly benefited many people over the last 36 years and continue to do so today.
And now top-level soccer is back, and thousands have returned to watch. And the commissioner of the league, touring the historical exhibit today, expects the stream of history to run rich with soccer here for decades to come.
The good thing that's happening with soccer in North America is that we're sort of creating new history every day, and there are all these great moments. And I think this is an historic event for the city of Portland, certainly for soccer in the Pacific Northwest.
Again, that piece was from 2011. Go Timbers. We'll be right back. You've been showing us your weird holiday decor. We thought it was time that we return the favor. This all started because KGW had a desk decorating contest and people just, frankly went off. We had themes like M&Ms and Star Wars. Then we had just like sweet holiday excess. There was a Hanukkah theme from Lisa there, our editor. We had a happy holidays like on steroids. Devin may have actually set his desk on fire. We're not sure. Things were intense. So intense that the decorating happened nonstop, like throughout the workday, on deadlines, don't tell the bosses, the whole nine. You don't believe me? Here's what happened when I was getting ready to tape an interview this week with a shot of the newsroom behind me.
How's it going?
It's okay. It's okay.
Good.
I'm appreciating the festive decoration happening behind you.
Oh, sweet mother of why that. So that's a lot. It's a lot. So we can't turn the camera, but we're having a newsroom decorating contest, and we're doing it because someone over the years has been like feverishly buying holiday decor and just like storing it in the basement of KGW, but now there's no one in the building. So we realized we have an abundance of decorations and like no one to enjoy it. So we're all using the free crap to have a decorating contest. And that seems excessive, but truly, like if you saw the rest of the newsroom, it blends.
I love it. I think, why not?
Please join me for this serious news interview. Is someone decorating behind you? That's how that went. So there you have it, Portland. We are clearly weird too. We would not have it any other way. And thank you for sharing your weirdness with us. It's been so much fun. We're going to keep it going, by the way, too. This is not the end. This is just the day of the contest. Pick up your phone and follow us on Twitter at @TheStoryKGW or email thestory@kgw.com. That is it for this show. The news at 6:30 with Laurel Porter starts now.
This is KGW News at 6:30.